Welcome to another interesting tutorial in Classy by Mavi. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this Ankara baggy pants. I'll be using this fabric. So I have 4 yards of Ankara fabric here. And then I'll be using this elastic to create my band. This is 2 inches elastic. And then with me here, I have my measurement tape and my basic trouser patterns. If you don't know how to draft a basic trouser, just check the link in the description. I'll be dropping the link for you to watch and learn. So if you know how to draft a basic trouser already, let's proceed. So what you must do is to extend the center line all through the darts, okay, both for the front and back, as you can see me doing. So after extending the center line, I'll slash open. Just watch me. I'll be doing this on both patterns. So now I'm to slash open the front pattern just the same way I did for the back pattern. So I'm done doing that also. Now we move on to transfer to fabric. We'll be transferring our patterns to fabric. So what I'm doing here is to simply fold the fabric into two first in such a way that it accommodates the pattern when spread out. Okay. So after folding it the right way, I'm here placing my patterns on the folded part of the fabric. So as you can see, I'm trying to get the exact placement. The trouser length I'm using here is longer than the Ankara fabric length, okay? It's just exactly the same length, not longer, exactly the same length, but I needed allowance for the back pattern, okay? This is the front pattern. I'm working with the front pattern first. So I'll be cutting it out that way. Now I'm spreading out the both patterns by a difference of 5 inches. That's what I want. You can do more than that. It all depends on choice. However, I feel it will be too big if you do more than 5. You can do less. You can spread it out by 3 inches, which will give you a smaller pants, okay? For me, by the time I was making this, I actually thought it was too big, not until I wore it and like I felt the comfort. It was really comfortable on me. So I'll spread it out with 5 inches. What you must do here is to pin down your pattern nicely before you use your chalk to mark out half an inch sewing allowance all around the pattern. So I am here pinning the pattern paper to stay with the fabric accordingly. Okay, so I'll pin all around the pattern paper. I'll pin all around before I proceed. Now after pinning the upper parts, I've proceeded to the hem area to also pin accordingly. Now watch the way I'm marking my chalk. From the hip area, I'm just going down straight, okay? Okay, I'll be using my straight ruler so you see very clearly. From the hip area, I went down very straight, okay? So it is from that part now you will now add half an inch sewing allowance. Can you see what I'm doing? Before the hip, I added half an inch sewing allowance on the pattern. And then down the hip will become straight. Now on this crotch area, I'm also doing the same thing. I'm just placing my tape and coming down straight. I'm not following the pattern of the trouser from that point. Can you see? So for sewing allowance, I'm adding half an inch again. So I'm inserting another line also on that point that comes straight after the crotch. Now on the crotch area on the center front, I'm marking half an inch allowance all through to the end. Okay, now I did not do my waist shaping because I'll be giving a straight band. I'll be sewing this pant with a straight band, so I didn't follow the shaped waist, the waist area. If you haven't drafted a basic, or if you don't know how to draft a basic trouser yet, please do so, learn so you can understand better. As you can see, I am cutting out my pattern. Can you see how I'm cutting it out? I follow that straight line to the hip area. Okay, look at the straight line. I added half an inch to the part I marked straight, and then half an inch on the waistline to the hip area too I have cut out. Then on the other side, I'm also cutting out the line I inserted after adding the half an inch sewing allowance. So just check how I'm cutting it out. Now dear creatives, I'm done cutting out the front pattern and I'm simply removing all the pins. After this, I'll proceed to doing the same thing on the back. I folded another fabric also for the back. Now I'm placing the back. Mind you, I'll also be giving same difference of 5 inches to spread out the patterns. Okay, so I'm trying to see if the folded fabric is okay. As you know, the back pattern is always bigger than the front pattern, so I will refold to accommodate every excess. Can you see what is happening here? The back pattern is automatically longer than the front pattern and also than the Ankara fabric. So what I'll simply do, I'll have to maintain the waist shape of the back. You know, the center back is higher by 1.5 inches. So I've extended the fabric. Since it didn't accommodate the spreading out of 5 inches. I've extended the fabric and I'm placing it again to spread it out while maintaining the shape of the waistline. So if the trouser length is excess on the M area, I'll maintain that length that is there on the M area. So I'll also go to my front pattern and trim off the excess. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, so the difference is 5 inches already, so I'll also pin down accordingly. After placing the back accordingly, I'm also pinning it to stay with the fabric. Now I'm bringing back the front pattern to place on the back pattern accordingly so I can get exactly the same length. Okay, mind you, for the back I'm maintaining the waist shape, but for the front we are taking a straight shape. Okay, now as you can see here, I have joined by the side after cutting out. This is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. So the first thing you must do is to join one back pattern and one front pattern by the side, and on one side and also on the other side, so that you'll be able to insert your pockets. Okay, so this is done because of the pocket insertion. So now after joining the sides on one side, I want to show you how the pockets will be placed. First of all, note that we are having two pockets. Okay, so the first pocket is an inner pocket that will be from the waistline area. I'll be using 7 inches for that one. Then after that pocket, the length of that pocket will determine where your side pockets will be. Okay, if the depth of that pocket is like 3 inches, after you mark 7, that means after you mark 10 inches is where that pocket will stop. Okay, that automatically means that the side baggy pocket can only start after 10 inches. So you mark the point before you start inserting your pocket. Okay, so now before we go on to creating the baggy pocket, let's create the side inner pocket by marking 7 inches. So these 7 inches I have marked here now, I'll go over and loosen. I'll use my seam ripper to rip up to this point, and then I'll show you the creation. Can you see on the waistline I marked 2 inches and then linked to this point of 7 inches. So I will not be cutting out that exact point. Since I'm cutting directly on my fabric, I'll be adding half an inch of sewing allowance before I cut out. So let's proceed. Here I'm simply using my seam ripper to rip off the seams there so I can get to that 7 inches point, and we start creating our pockets. Dear creatives, I'm also done ripping open. I've done this on both patterns. So can you see I'm joining them wrong sides facing each other, and the front pattern facing the front pattern. Can you see? So this side is our back pattern and here is the front pattern. Now I'll be cutting it out. I'm placing them together like this to cut so that I'll be accurate. Let both pockets, both on the pockets, both on the right and the left hand side be the same. Okay. Now I'll add half an inch to that 7 inches point I have marked. That means I'm cutting out from 6.5 inches. So okay? I'm marking the 6.5 inches point so I don't make any mistake, and linking back to the 1.5 inches point accordingly. Can you see? And now I am cutting out. Do not forget to put your allowances, since this is a fabric. You are cutting directly on the fabric. So it's time to cut out the pocket bag. The width of the pocket is 5 inches and the depth of the pocket is about 10 inches. So I'll bear that in mind while I'm cutting out this. So folding the fabric into two. On one side we have 5 inches width and on the other side 5. This is 12 in total because I added 1 extra inch. On both sides, which will serve as my sewing allowance. Now after cutting it out, I'm simply folding it this way first and then this way again. And I'll place it under the pockets that we have cut out like this. Just watch what I'm doing. Placing it this way. So mind you, it's both front patterns that are here, the both front patterns. So we are cutting out 2 pockets. That means I'm holding 2 fabrics. I'll just pick 2 like this and then cut out. The other 2 will remain the same. After cutting out, I'll come over and shape the waist accordingly to align with the original waistline of the trouser. Can you see what we have gotten? We are done cutting out our pocket bags. Look at them. Look at the pocket bag. So they are still together because of the way I folded it. So I will now separate them now. Okay. You know, they are going to the 2 different pockets, so they have to be separated. Separating them, we have this. So when we fold them over, the inner part is where the right side will be facing. So we'll place it that way accordingly. So far, these are the pockets. Okay, our pockets are ready. We still have to create pockets for the side. Okay, we need to create pocket bags for the side. To do that, you also fold your fabric according to the size of pockets you want. Just watch me do this. So here I've cut out a pocket of 10 inches in length and 8 inches in width. Okay, after sewing, the width will become 7 inches because I'll be sewing to close both sides. Now I'll be separating the pockets same way, since there are 2 pockets. I'm separating them accordingly. So we have our 2 pockets. Now for this pocket bag, just sew all around all around, and then come and open it to the front area and sew. So that's what I'll do. I'll quickly go to the machine and finish up. However, let's proceed to the next stage. So I'm here measuring to cut out the pocket cover. Okay. For the pocket covers, I'm cutting out 4 inches in width, in length, 4 inches in length, and then for the width, it should be exactly the same width with the pocket bags. I'm done cutting it out, and here I'm folding it into two also to cut out again so I can separate both pocket covers. After that, you fold one side into two this way, and then you come and cut out the shape of the pocket cover you want. Just take a look at how I did mine. I just cut out like this in no particular order. So dear creatives, by the time we are done sewing, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, like this and like this. Can you see? So our pockets are also ready. We'll now proceed and continue with the sewing process. Here I'm simply starting with the side pockets. Just watch what I'll be doing. So when we are done sewing, this is how the pocket should look like. So you place it together first and then turn it right side facing each other and the wrong sides facing outside like this. Okay, you place it like this and then sew. So by the time you are done sewing, the wrong side is inside. Okay. So here I'm done sewing and I'm cutting out the threads. Now after sewing, this is what it looks like. So after that, you simply fold it over like this and stitch on this part. Okay, just watch me do it. You fold it over and you are stitching on the right side, right? This is the inner side of the pocket bag, so you need to back stitch and make your stitches tight and firm. Okay, I'm done stitching, and here this is what we have gotten. So you fold it inside like this, so the rough edges are inside of the pockets. Just watch me. So now you simply get your tape measure, place it like this, and measure what you are having on the side to the beginning of the pocket bag. So you measure like this, measuring 2.5 inches. If it is up to 2.5 inches, then you start stitching it to stay. If it's not up to, you adjust it to 2.5 inches, just like you see me doing. So after adjusting it, you can pin it down before you go to your machine and sew so that it stays in place. Okay. So now I'm sewing, ensuring that the other parts, the side area, I have 2.5 inches. So half an inch should be for the sewing allowance, then the 2 inches is the pockets opening. Can you see how it is now? So I'll flip it over like this and then join to the side back. Remember, we have joined the side back before we opened it up to 7 inches so we can insert our pockets. So now I'm to close that 7 inches opening we did before, with the pockets also on one side, the pocket bag. So I'm sewing the pocket bag alongside. Can you see? Okay, I've arranged all three fabrics together and I'll sew. Now our pocket is ready. The side pocket is ready. Can you see? Oh, this is the opening. I'll now keep this aside and also prepare the pockets for the other side. So in case you didn't get it right now, you need to watch how I'll also do it on this other side. Okay? So just pay attention, watch carefully, and learn. After sewing this way, you close it like this, align the right sides to face outside, and then you sew the bottom part closed. Okay, I decided to also show you the second pocket for the sake of those who may not understand how I did the first one. At this point, I did my 2.5 inches measurements on the sides and then place the pockets like this on the 2.5 inches points like this, and then I made sure I stitched on the waistline to make it stay in place. Now we are almost done creating the side pockets. After this, I flipped the back over like this and then joined the side of the back to the side of the front while arranging the pockets. Okay, I hope you have gotten this right in case you didn't get it the first time I was doing it on the other side. Okay, so our pocket is complete. We'll now be moving on. After stitching on this side, we will now be moving on to the patched pockets. So this is it. Okay, if you didn't know how to sew side pockets like this before, I hope you have learned something. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Okay, so this is the length of the pocket, 7 inches in length, and then from that 7 inches point we are going down by 3 inches, ensuring that it does not affect the inner part of the pocket. And then after marking this, we'll be placing the patch pockets. But before we place the patch pocket and start attaching it to the side, we'll come over and sew. Remember how we cut this out? I showed the process. So what I'm doing here, I simply fold it into two and close both sides. Then for the pocket cover, I'll flip it to the wrong side and also sew on it round. Just watch what I'm doing. I'll sew on it according to the shape. First, I'll sew this way and then I'll tilt it to this other side like this and then sew, maintaining the shape that I have cut out. Okay, here I'll pause again and I'll pivot to this other side and keep sewing. All right. Then I pivot again and sew on the last side. So doing this, I have closed all the sides, but then I'll use my scissors to open the bottom side. Just watch what I'm doing. Okay. So I'll be cutting open this side so that I can flip out the pattern. Doing that, I flipped it to the other side and this is what we are having, and I'm going ahead to flip also the body of the pockets. Okay, I flipped it out. A scissors to also turn out all the sharp edges. Okay, so that has also been done. We'll now move ahead and attach it to the side of the baggy pants. Sincere apologies, dear creatives. A part of the video was not recording. So I've attached the main body of the pockets to the side of the baggy pants already. Okay, I ensured that it does not affect these pockets, right? And then after doing that, you remember the point we marked? That's the point I took note of while attaching. That's where the pocket is starting from. Then I'll also target that point and place the cover like this. After folding in the raw edges, I place it like this and also top stitch on it to stay in place. I'm also done sewing the pocket cover. Here we are. After cutting out the rope, here is what we have. Can you see? So this is the reason why we decided to join the pants on the sides first, okay? Before we move over to the middle, so that both sides will be flat enough for us to work with. Can you see? So we have our pockets ready on one side. Now, dear creatives, let's repeat the process on this side so that you can see even the part that was omitted will be very clear to you. Now, to place your pocket bag, you will target that line you marked. Remember the line we marked by measuring from the waistline to get 10 inches. Can you see? So this is where the pocket will be. So we will target where it will come from down, as you can see me doing. So if I place it here and flip it over, it will get to that line. And now you also spread it across the seam line. One side of the pocket will be on the back and one side on the front. Mostly the side on the front is usually wider. Okay, so you consider that fact before you place it. After placing it accordingly and making sure it is straight enough, I'll go ahead and start stitching with my machine. If you watch well, the side that falls on the front pattern is wider. Okay, so I sew it across this way till I'll get to the end, and I back stitch and flip it over. So I am done sewing. I have back stitched. It's time to cut out the thread and then to flip it over. Can you see what I'm doing? I have flipped it over and now it's time for me to stitch on the sides. I'll be top stitching on the sides, ensuring that everywhere is flat. Can you see me arranging the fabric? Okay, so now that I've ensured that everywhere is flat, I'll go ahead and top stitch beautifully. Ensure that your stitches are straight and neat. As you are top stitching, you keep arranging and making the fabric flat, ensuring that there is no bulging fabric. I have top stitched on one side, I've back stitched also, and I'm simply cutting the threads. After cutting the threads, I'll move over to the next side and also top stitch. So this is the part that was omitted, so watch and learn. That means ultimately nothing was omitted because it's the same thing you do on both sides. Now we are done attaching the pocket bag by the side, the patch pockets, okay? And it's now time for us to sew in the pocket cover. You saw how I did it on the other side, so it is exactly the same thing I'll be doing on this side. So I later attached it exactly the same way and moved ahead to join the center of the trousers. Also, I joined by the center and finish up the hemline accordingly. Now we'll be moving on to creating and attaching the band. Unfortunately, the part I was joining by the center got corrupted. I hope you can actually join your trousers by the center. It is not difficult, it is quite easy. You can watch my other tutorials on pant making, especially the newest culotte pant making tutorial. You see how I join the center, okay? So having said that, let's talk about the band. So as you can see here, I have my fabric, the stripe I cut out 5 inches and my band is 2 inches. I am placing it like this, ensuring that half an inch remains on this other side, and then I'll sew the elastic to stay in place. So I'm exhausting 2.5 inches now for the elastic with half an inch allowance this way. So just watch how I'm sewing it. As I'm sewing, I am stretching the elastic. I am stretching the elastic and be sewing accordingly till I will get to the end of the fabric. This is a 1 yard elastic, but because I am stretching it, there will be excess by the time I am done sewing it to the fabric. You can see the behavior of the fabric already due to the elasticity. Okay, so if you don't stretch it, you will not see a good result. But because I'm stretching it, the fabric keeps folding. It will be folding until it gets to my waistline circumference. Okay, because the fabric I cut out is actually longer than my waistline circumference. As you already know, the waistline of this pants is very big. It's very big, so we are using this elastic to bring it back to your original waistline, hence the need to stretch the elastic. And here I am done sewing, so what I'll do, I'll cut off the excess elastic. Can you see the excess elastic here? I'll cut it off first before I'll proceed. So I've also cut it off. Then the next thing is to bring both sides together like this. Okay, hold it firmly together and then you sew and close one side. Here I am done sewing and we have this. So you just flip it over like this and attach to the waistline of your pants. Okay, as you can see, I have a sticker here in front. It is when I'm done, I'll use my iron to remove the sticker because I do not want any stickiness on my needle while I'm sewing. Okay, so here we have our pants after joining all the necessary parts. This is the waistline of the pants and it is very wide. So we'll be using this elastic band that we have prepared to bring it together and make it wearable, right? So let's go ahead and start the sewing process. You hold it like this, ensuring that the elastic is inside, and place it on the waistline of the pants this way, just like I'm doing. Okay, after placing it, you go to the machine and start sewing it around. Remember, the stripe of that waist is to be cut out exactly the bogus waistline. Okay, so that's the fabric. The length of the fabric I used to prepare the band must be exactly the waistline of the baggy pants. So after sewing all the necessary parts of the baggy pants, you come over and measure around the waistline. I was showing that, I was also capturing that, but the video was not recording. That's why it didn't show. And I'm here explaining. Measure around that baggy pants waistline after sewing before you cut out the band for this pants. Okay, so for instance, if you get a waistline of 55 inches, you also cut out your band of 55 inches, but your elastic will now make it come to your original waistline. Okay, so here I'm simply joining. Watch me. So far, here is where we are now. Okay, flipping it over, this is what we are getting. Can you see? So I'll continue to join until I'll get to the end. We still have an opening here, this part to complete. So I'll just follow the same process and also join this part. And now I'm also done joining on the entire waistline. So our pant is ready. Take a look at what we have gotten here. So this is how to make a baggy pants with elastic band. I'll go ahead and use my hot iron to remove the fabric sticker and it will come out neat. Then I'll also finish up the hem by folding and top stitching. As you can see, I've gone ahead to wear it and it is so beautiful. Ensure to do yours and make sure it comes out even better than mine.